Do, do, do. And now to let people know we exist. We think, therefore we exist. This is a philosophy stream now. I won't get
All right,
pinged.
Jazz Dude. You can curl up over here, but not on my keyboard. How about that? How about that? No, how about that? Yeah, it's a little comfy bed.
Hello, everybody. This is the Electric Metropolis video game tour. I'm AD Springer, also known as Corpinion, and we are likely in the final episode of the first volume of The Travelers of Galantine, Adventures in the Far Future, using Traveler 5. Let's get to it. Whee. It is 1112 of Imperial Reckoning of the Third Imperium. The Third Imperium is currently still in the height of its golden age, enjoying the uncertain rulership of Emperor Strefan Elia Alclakoi. Long may he reign. It has been over a full year since the armistice ended the Fifth Frontier War between the Jordani Consulate and the Third Imperium. With this return to status quo de jure, but de facto the Sword Worlds Confederation have lost many of its worlds to become a new Imperial client state formed in the aftermath. A year of post-bellum in the Spinward Marches sector has seen a dynamic shift of power, as various factions have seen their fortunes rise and fall. Not the least of which, the lifting of the sector-wide amber status by the Travelers' Aid Society. Between the interests of the mentalist Jordani, the Imperials with the Darien Confederation allies, seeking to uphold their self-appointed warrant of restoration, and the fiercely independent sword-wielders, and not least we forget, the ambitions of the Susag megacorporation, and the rise of a certain shipping concern out of Darien that is imperially chartered. What do they call themselves again? All right, the Langhoff, Arctos, and Trusani Voidgazer Imperial Shipping Company. The will of humanity and beyond is made manifest in courts of high pageantry, to the respectable private courts of TES member lounges, to courts low and dark of spacer bars. Among the million stars, we turn our attention to the high port of Lunian, the subsector capital of the Lunian subsector, where where Trusani, Langhoff, and Arctos meet to decide the fate of their megacorporation, and perhaps the entire region. But before I forget, I should probably roll intuition, because I almost forget that every time.
Yeah.
4, 8. Any ties this time?
Come on, roll a 4, roll a 4.
Let's.
Yeah.
What? Did you roll 2d6? I rolled 2d6. Oh, never mind. I was scrolling it.
4, 8, 5. So 8 insight, 5 curiosity, 4 luck.
We are screwed this time around.
So, the three of you have managed to meet at the high port over Lunian. And the Princess Sai army has, under the custody of Sir Tarbin Arctos, Lord of Gorham, has managed to delay her showing at the before the committee of Sir Wendell von Alfer, just in time for Baron Langhoff, and Professor Trusani to gather together. Where do the three of you gather before possibly meeting with the princess, or not?
TAS member lounge?
Yeah, that sounds like us.
Private little room tucked away somewhere, or out in the main lobby?
The booth.
Yeah, the quiet booth.
A little quiet booth.
Nope.
The Lunian Traverse Aid Society is packed with all kinds of people coming and going. This is one of the major ports of call for travelers entering into the Spinward Marches, a massive sector that has been storied for many, many years. And 3 people gathering in a booth. There's lots of people gathering in booths at tables and various other machinations, both high and low. But what are you 3 up to?
No good.
Coffee mostly.
It's good coffee. Unlike
Yeah.
mine, it's gone cold.
Well, Calcian will say there's a few business items to handle before we all get lost in coffee and talks of princesses.
There's some business items around the princess to discuss too.
Oh, okay. Well then, that's what we should do.
What's the situation?
Oh, I think you're already aware, Calvir, but Tarvin, the matter on Darien is resolved. Everyone was arrested who was capable of surrender.
Great.
And and we made so much off of the sale of the artifacts that we've commissioned 2 ships and a upgrade on a starport so that they'll actually be able to refuel.
Sounds good.
Because our original route was not going to work out.
Okay.
And then we casually made about 4 million.
Well,
Since
Just
we
something on the
last
side, I guess. But
Yeah,
actually,
just
it's
as
really
like
the
a-
best way to make that kind of money.
Yeah, almost as an afterthought of dealing business on resource units, but I think that's all the business, unless any of you need cash enough for us to like disperse funds. But
I do not believe so right now.
and
Go
okay.
ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and we have a meeting in a day or two with Sternmetal Horizons.
What's that?
They're the only company I could really get to bite on the idea of quick transit, right? Everybody else seemed to be fine with relying on, jump 1 or jump 2 cargo. Sternmetal was interested in our hot capabilities.
Huh.
Into Darien space and over to the other nearby Imperial subsectors.
Why was everybody else kind of
They wouldn't even take meetings.
weird?
And I don't know if you've been informed, but this bit with the princess will be my last romp with you fellows. The doctors on Darien have deemed my mind too frail to continue adventuring. or
That's
traveling,
disappointing.
rather. I shall be retiring back to my homeworld of Alel, to my farm. Hopefully to a much more peaceful life.
Certainly will be sorry to lose you.
But we will still have a Trusani with us.
That's right, one of my brother actually, my twin brother. I have sent mail to him, but I don't know if he has received it yet. However, he should be, maybe, soon, maybe.
I advised Calvir as he intends to allow his heir to inherit his shares rather than selling them off. He doesn't really need approval.
Sounds good.
But until then, I am here with you, and I'll see this to the end. Whatever end that may be.
Well, hopefully there's no end soon. Hopefully, every few months you receive a healthy stipend from shares, or at least from your cousin.
Or that, and I get to retire peacefully, hopefully soon. But we shall see. So, what news of the princess?
Oh, she's a peach.
Yes, I never heard anyone describe a member of the Imperial royal family a peach.
So, the princess is apparently a very deep student of psychohistory, by which theoretically you can predict the way things are going to go. Like, you
Sure,
know.
I took a course in university, I know.
Right. Okay. So you're up to speed then.
Yes.
So she has had some of the leading lights of the psychohistorical field working on calculations for her, and has come up with the following information. And I've read the summary, but some of the details are a bit beyond me. So let me transfer a copy of this reports which she gave me to you. So the long and the short is the Darien Confederacy is ready to collapse. The border worlds will destabilize. The sword worlds will rise. Susag will be the megacorp in the region. And the Jordani will win a kingdom, whether that's in the border worlds, the Darien Confederacy, or Sword Worlds is kind of in the air. There is potential that the Emperor will die within a year.
Oh, keep it down.
Well, it's fine. We're in a private booth.
The walls
again-
have ears.
And again, these are just psychohistorical predictions. Even if the Empire is fortunate, there's going to be turmoil. There'll be shuffling of power. So the princess had determined to do one of four things: either become empress, that says molecular. Oh, never mind. That's my meal notes. Become the kind of princess protector of the border worlds confederacy, or border worlds confederacy, but anyway, of the border worlds. Move into the Darien technocracy, but since they don't really have royals in Darien, she would want to bring some sort of technology or knowledge with her to ensure her position within the technocracy, or defect to the Jordani consulate. When I first met her, she seemed determined to ignore the Imperial summons and head to Jordani space. But I cooked a rather elaborate meal for her, in which each course offered her some my analysis of the options. I think I have somewhat convinced her to make the move into the Darien spaces, particularly since we have such commercial interests in Darien that we really don't want them falling apart, and have done so by intimating that she could be the main go-between for the ancient technology between Palm Beak and the Darien Confederacy. That would be what she would be able to bring to the table. We could introduce her to our Jordani loving friend and contacts there, and that would be her route. For us, of course, that wins us a very powerful patron and ally in the Darien technocracy, someone who would be determined to keep it together and would be a source of information for us to help to keep it together.
Well, I have one major question.
Mhm.
How does someone who can't handle Sir Wendell von Alpher propose to do any of these things?
It's not that she couldn't handle him. It's just I got the sense that she views these psychohistorical predictions as being near-term events and was wanting to get out of their way as quickly as possible. When I showed reluctance to go along with her plan, plus of course the Void Gazer wasn't with me. She agreed to come and answer the summons and then make her move post whatever. At least that's where I think we left it. Honestly, there's not exactly any sure telling with the princess, but I believe we are in agreement with that. So,
And you are sure that her mathematics is correct on this?
not at all. Again, it's not hers. She paid for some of the leading lights of the field to do this analysis. And again, I've just read the highlights. The mathematics and psychohistorical analysis is frankly beyond me. So you might be able to triple check their numbers.
Do you mind if I have a look?
No, so I transferred it to you.
All right. Let's see. Let's try and read over this. I don't know. Can I try and check the math if it's actually true?
You certainly can. We will say this is a 5 dice intelligence psychohistory test.
6 dice because this is hard. 11. Yes, her math is absolutely correct.
You see reams of math, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, there's a first page or two, you're like, oh, okay, I understand this. And then...
Is there an abstract that I can read?
Yeah, it kind of outlines that herein lies the psychohistorical analysis of the known galaxy, as focused upon Third Imperial points of order relating to Jordani, Sword World, Darien, and economic macro interstellar interests.
I'll put the thing down. It's like you've given me a hieroglyph or something.
Yeah, yeah, I understand the feeling, Doc.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much truth is in any of this. I could find you someone who would ask this price and give you a title and tell you everything in this paper.
Well, whether or not it's true or not, the princess believes it's true. So I was walking the fine line of not becoming an outlaw to the Empire by, while also not pissing off a member of the Imperial family, and hopefully setting us up for some company success in future by my suggestions. Now, I was having to think on my feet and in my kitchen quickly.
It is a difficult position. The people that are after her in this commission, assuming that she's the point of the commission, they're not that powerful. Right, Sir Wendell von Alpher, he's the head of a commission. His moment in the spotlight is fleeting. So anything we could do for him in relation to the princess would be temporary at best and not very rewarding. The princess, on the other hand, it could be powerful and rewarding, but she makes us an enemy of the Empire.
Well, I mean, if she chooses to move to Darien, she wouldn't necessarily be giving up her position in the Empire. She would just be kind of moving into Darien and being prepared if things in the Empire went south. Now, here's the other thing to remember, though, before you start making too many calculations based on what you just said. the fact that Wendell, who is a lower ranking for sure member of the Imperial Order, was able to summon a Imperial princess means that there's enough evidence potentially against her that not only the Moot but the Emperor themselves approved this. They would have to for such a personage to be summoned by a knight. So there's some larger things at work here.
I hear a question.
Is the princess the heir de jure, or is there another preferred heir?
There's another.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It could be the Emperor offering up one of his children to save another.
Or it could be that she's guilty of being a part of this smuggling operation.
Well, the Imperial family, no doubt, are guilty of all kinds of things, but that's what being an Imperial gets you.
Right. I'm just saying that the very fact that Wendell was able to summon her means that there's some support and evidence behind his inquiry at some very high levels.
But what is our plan of action?
I'm agreeing with you, but I'm also saying that any of the Imperial heirs could probably be brought up on severely legitimate charges. I would find it interesting who could sponsor Sir. What has prompted the Emperor to give up his own? Like, what kind of pressure Sir Wendell or Sir Wendell's allies could bring?
Well, that's my thing. I'm not sure. I don't think it's kind of the situation you're describing of they're just throwing one of them sacrificially to the wind. I mean, it could be, but from what I've been able to learn, it does seem like the Imperial family is having to do this because it does look like that she has been up to something. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about what the charges are, but the sheer fact that they've been able to summon her could well indicate that the charges against her are legitimate and that the Emperor didn't know anything about what was going on. I'm just saying there's a lot of big support behind any summons to a member of the Imperial family.
Yeah, perhaps there is a play that ends with her on the throne that is useful to us, or getting her out from under this that is useful to us. But the Darians, I doubt it, because the Darians don't. The Darians have a hard time with the Soleimani that have been living on the planet for hundreds of years. I don't see an Imperial princess whose way of life is antithetical to the Darien system fitting in. She'll be tolerated if she's useful, but she'll never be an insider.
Well, I think she knows that, but that's why she knew she needed to bring something to the table. And again,
someone walks up. Someone in a suit with the Imperial Navy sun walks up to your table and stands at relatively relaxed attention as you're talking among yourselves.
What's his rank?
Oh, okay.
What was the question?
What's his rank?
You see a nice three-piece suit with the Imperial Navy seal on
not
the
in a uniform. Okay.
Actually, you served in the Navy. This is an agent of the of them, so a civilian extension of the Navy.
Okay.
I look at Tarbin and say, perhaps they need to wait till we finish business, unless you have to dart off to Capital for another mission.
It's got an Imperial seal on him, so I kind of have to take this.
That's what I'm worried about.
How can I help you, Sarah?
Lord Gorham, I am here to provide you with itinerary of a VIP that will be visiting your territory. If I may.
Of course.
She reaches into her jacket and pulls out a, no joke, vellum scroll with a iridescent ribbon, and the you see it is a gold Imperial seal, and then it is sealed onto it, and then next to it is another seal of the Imperial Navy. And she holds it out to you.
Well, this is the second one of these I've seen in as many months.
This is probably a worse one.
I will, take it, and crack the seal and see what it say.
You are hereby informed that His Imperial Majesty of the Third Imperium intends to perform an inspection of your territory on the 60th day of this year. Please make any and all preparations you are able. If you are able to attend personally, please do so. If not, please inform your agent, etc., etc., etc.
Huh. This is the Emperor himself, right?
Yep, and you notice that there's also some details about what ships to expect. There's going to be some Navy ships that'll jump ahead of the Emperor ship to scan the area, scan the planets. They're going to set up their own security forces. They expect you to set up yours, coordinate with theirs, and then they'll arrive ahead of the day, and then he'll arrive on the 60th day.
Well, I mean, there's nothing I can really do about that but say, oh goody. So I will acknowledge receipts and I guess send him on his way unless there's something else he needs from me. She needs from me, rather.
The agent just stands there and asks, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was gonna go ahead.
Actually, give me... she would prompt, because she knows you're new. Do you have any questions for me, Lord Gorham, regarding the receipt of this letter?
Do you need a reply?
I can communicate a reply, and as she's saying that, she takes out a notebook and immediately flips it open and gets ready to write down. Like, just natural as air. I can dictate your reply, or you can write it personally, and I can have it delivered.
I think I would rather write it personally. Where can I send it to you?
You can attend to it with your seal, and then you can make I would suggest a delivery through the Imperial Naval Service, and then an agent like myself would deliver it. You may, as your career may prefer, or you may prefer to use the Imperial Scout Service. I do not suggest using the civilian mail service for a letter of such import.
Understood. I shall make my reply directly then.
She flips her book closed and then puts it away.
So there's a date and all of that in there. Is there a way that I can does the letter include ways that I can coordinate with the various Imperial security that's been going on? Because I've got people surveying. And this is a GM question first. Does the letter contain?
It does. There's going to be a person who arrives ahead of the contingent, about like a week ahead, and they're going to be around to coordinate with whoever you have there.
Okay, cool. Because I didn't want them, because I do have a company surveying it right now.
Yep.
So yeah, I will thank the officer. Is tipping the thing to do or no?
The GM question or to her?
GM question.
Not really. She's a bureaucrat. She's
right. That's what
she's a very a functionary who is delivering a letter, basically. Although she's an agent, so they treat this a little more. She probably had to go through a lot of security checks to even be allowed to hold that letter.
Right. Fair enough. Okie dokie. Thank you very much for your service.
She nods. Good day, sirs. She finally acknowledges like Officer Sani and that, and then she turns and leaves.
Well, curiouser and curiouser. The Emperor themselves are planning to visit the least notable holding in the Lunian sector for a tour of inspection on the 60th day, GM?
Yep.
60, the 60th day of the year.
We're already on day 24,
Yep.
right?
So this letter didn't find me in time.
No, you have 26 days. 36
right.
days.
Sorry. Sorry. That's player losing his mind slightly.
Ever so slightly.
The letter didn't get to me. You don't get to be mad at me.
Yeah, 36 days, and we need approximately 7 of those. Actually, I think we need slightly more than that. I think it's more than 1 jump for us. I'd have to double check.
It's 3 parsecs away.
Okay.
So 1 jump.
So you have 29 days if you want to arrive the same day as him, right? 29 days to wrap up business.
Right.
If you want to get there earlier, then you have 25 days or so.
But the question still remains, what do we do with the princess? Now that this news has come out suddenly unwanted, perhaps.
I think the answer is to that question is, are we going to favor the Imperium as our base of operations, our way to make money, or are we going to favor the Darien Confederation?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is Darien not the only place that we can effectively repair our ship?
No, there are places like Capital and Lunian can do it. They're just not as effective, but they will be in a generation or two, right? By the time we're ready to sell these ships off, people will actually be interested in buying ships like them. So we'll be one of the first to do it on a commercial scale, but it won't be too much longer and others will start doing it, which will bring the shipyards up to speed.
Well, I mean, okay. Again, I was just trying to get the princess, to here and not, become an Imperial outlaw. I'm not saying that I've married us completely to the princess's ambitions.
I know. I think we're just trying to we're going to the next step, right? You've done what was needed to get her here, and now we need to decide what's the next step.
Well, I think that largely depends on her and what happens here.
Well, but what happens to her here depends on if we're willing to help her or not, right?
No. I mean, if she decides she wants to make a run for it, but she hasn't asked that yet.
Well, and I don't mean make a run for it. If she wants us to help this situation resolve in a legal way that lets her off light, right?
Right.
I mean, we have a great firm, Imperial legal firm retained, and we have helped Sir Wendell in the past. Probably not enough to make this all go away, right? Certainly not, but enough to make it to lighten the blow.
Well, honestly, this isn't at this point a trial. It's an investigatory committee that at the end of its investigations will recommend charges, if I have that right, GM.
That would be a 3 dice intelligence check of the law. I believe it's called something else. Not called law. It's called
Advocate.
Thank you.
Does any of us have advocate?
No, we have someone else hired for that who's not here.
Not on my end, no.
Uh,
I
can
have
our
your
can our ship's mainframe do it?
Yeah.
Or do we have? We probably need to bring an advocate on board, like an
I mean, the
NPC.
computer can resolve tasks.
So yeah, let's ask the computer what the. I mean, it should be able to look up what the remit of this kind of committee is.
So I believe it would roll against its model number, yeah?
16.
So 3 dice.
Yeah, it's tech level.
So 3 dice on 16.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure 3 doesn't trigger this hard. There is an answer somewhere deep in the second book, I think, about how exactly the tech level converts into skill and characteristic.
I think 16 will cover 3. I think that's within its remit. If it was a lot if it was a lot like 10 or something, I might start looking it up. I'm like, nah, it's high enough. I'm pretty sure it's okay.
Yeah. I saw it once and I was like, oh, that's going to come up. And then it was in a sidebar, so I couldn't never find it again.
Okay, I'm going to roll for the computer.
Yep. So this is... So... The Wenda von Alpher Commission is part of the Select Moot Committee for Naval Affairs. The Wenda von Alpher Committee has learned of misappropriation of resources to bribe naval officials. And he, as part of that, because of the evidence he collected, he has been allowed by the Select Moot Committee for Naval Affairs to spearhead a massive nobility anti-corruption initiative in the subsector. Quote, thus will we embark on forcing the Lunian nobility to uphold the tenets of warrant restoration and cease the weakening of the Imperial public's trust in their leaders. Though Jordani may use psionics to pry into the minds of its people, they do encourage a society of trust and honesty that we can not only emulate, but we must supersede, as all Valani and Zolomani should, end quote. So this is the, this is a portion of the moot that is addressing other nobles of the moot regarding naval affairs. This is as high as it gets without it being put before the emperor, but generally speaking, the moot is is largely judicial and legislative. The emperor is a big can say things to the moot and has a big voice, but the moot can prevent tyranny from the emperor, as per the warrant of restoration. Right, the wording implies that interstellar trade and freedom has been curtailed, which is a grave. It's a constitutional offense, basically. It's grounds for being stripped of nobility, if not further criminal charges.
Okay. I guess my question is this just the committee that recommends those charges, or is this the committee that actually has the power to impose those penalties?
He's been empowered. Before, at the beginning of the year, when you guys first met him, he was at the recommending charges level. He had to gather evidence, and then he didn't call. He would have to present his evidence to to his committee and get them to agree. Yes, we're going to send this up to his subcommittee, and then to his commission, and then send it up to the subcommittee. Right. Go, hey, we should do something. They go, okay, we're going to talk to the moot. We'll get back to you. They got back from the moot and said, okay, go ahead. That's why he's able to put out warrants for people to show up to his commission. And the reason they do that is so you don't send people all the way to Capital to go to the moot every time something comes up. It's like, no. That's why we have committees and commissions. So you don't have to, so we can grab you wherever you are in the Third Imperium.
Right. Okay.
But it's not. It is a nobility question. It isn't a criminal thing. So it's kind of a different forum.
Right. Okay. Well, there you have it. So yeah, I mean, I don't have any particular personal loyalty to the princess beyond her standing in the nobility to which I belong. But I had to get her here, or otherwise the nobility to which I belong would have been coming after me. As far as whether or not the Empire is our main trade thing, I don't know. I guess my response to that would be the way I was seeing it anyway was that our business kind of was interdependent between Darien and the Empire. And, either the border worlds or the sword worlds in between, depending on what our route's taking. Because our primary original goal was routes from the Empire to Darien. So we need both ends of that to be secure.
Yes, that's largely the plan. I tried to manage a route with Quirion, but the Jildani don't want to play either.
Okay.
So the route planned now is Darien, Beater, not Beater, Bitter, which is weird. They're right next
Biter?
to each other. Biter. Darien, Biter, Lunian, Lance. So actually 3 subsector capitals and a really important sword world.
Darien, Biter,
border world.
Lunian, and where?
Lance. It's another subsector capital that's north of the sword worlds.
Oh, right. 1719 looks like.
And a lot of this relies on partial jumps, which rely on good AI and astrogators to do.
Right.
And
then back from Lance to Lunian to Biter to...
There was going to be a circle route. There was going to be a circle route, which is why I had the Tarrant starport built, or the funds allocated for it, and then the Jildani screwed us on that one. So that starport isn't really our anchor anymore, the way it was supposed to be.
So is this a...
but we already paid to get it built.
Is this a... we're talking jump drive distance or hop drive distance?
Hop drive.
Okay, so 10. Hold on, let me look at something.
And so, basically what I was getting at was, is the princess valuable enough for us to swear off the Empire, right? And I think the answer is no.
No, that is one of the reasons why I was scrambling to get her here, because helping her the way she wanted to be helped when I met her was kind of a no-go.
And so, the question there is, right, do we go to Sir Wendell and try to make a play there to help him lock this down for his good grace, or
I think actually we just let whatever happens with the naval inquiry and the princess happen. But we do go to Gorham for the Imperial inspection.
All right, so we're going to pivot and we're going to focus on the Emperor.
Right. Why wouldn't you? If you have the opportunity to actually meet the Emperor and potentially impress him. Now, Corby, can we find out how much the Emperor seems to like this daughter?
I would say education. Five. And the relevant knowledge. or skill.
Like 5 dice?
Yeah. Because there's what's publicly known, and then there's guessing between the lines how the Emperor really feels about her.
Okay. Argument for social standing, since that's...
You may be privy to things that the average citizen wouldn't be. Yep, you could make that argument.
Right.
And maybe are you for a bonus because it's not just social standing, but it's Imperial noble social standing that you have?
Now, let's see what...
Because it'd be
I don't know if
different
I'm
for
gonna-
me, right?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to avoid
You'd have
this
Kelsian would have
hard.
+1 difficulty for it because if you use social standing, because he's one step removed from their nobility.
Looking over... Oh, is this something I could roll curiosity for, or would that more be an insight question?
Insights, why don't we or should we? Curiosities, why is. Puzzle out, lure. Yeah, you could use curiosity.
Okay, well that's only 1 die roll, and I've got 5, so let's try the luck there. Yeah. So, success.
You give it a think. Probably you heard things when you were in the Navy and in the Scouts and even now traveling about, and you're able to kind of piece it together as an overall picture that the average person may not have seen, but you've had a unique set of experiences that kind of help you frame something that's reasonable. And... the Emperor considers her a less than he's distant enough from her that they're not exactly he doesn't treat her so much as a daughter. It's like she's not quite that close to him anymore. It's just been too long. They've been apart too long. But she is someone that he considers a companion, someone that if he were going to get into something, if he was going to get into trouble or get into some scheme, or defend himself from some scheme, he would turn to her as because he considers her a rather astute student of noble intrigue and imperial politic.
Okay. So, not necessarily the best ploy to just drop her in the dirt if things go south.
In other words, we probably don't want to appear to be on Sir Wendell's side.
Right, but also we can do the ploy when Tarbin's reply. I can mention that I had recently had the honor to escort the princess to Lunian, and that if the Emperor so desired, it would be both my pleasure and an honor to escort the princess to meet her father when he's in Gorham. So this theoretically gets the Emperor a chance to say, yes, bring my daughter to Gorham, which means, there's kind of an out there. There's also, we can tell the princess that we're going to be, that the Emperor's going to be in the region. We plan to go meet him. So if there is in the Empire the legal ability to appeal a court's decision to the Emperor like there was in Rome, you might be able, no matter what happens, to go, well, I appeal my decision to the Emperor. He's going to be in Gorham. Somebody's going to take me there. So we kind of butter both sides of our bread, maybe.
I would hate to be within 10 systems of an Imperial veto. I don't even want to be in the same sector or in the next sector.
Right.
We
And
may
again,
not have a choice on the matter.
That's just Inslee talking. I don't know if the appeal to the Emperor is a thing.
Well, the Moot only has 2 powers over the Emperor. They have the power to dissolve the Empire, and they have the power to replace an heir. So I'm pretty sure he has an absolute veto with those 2 exceptions.
Unless the extension of that, though, is if they believe the Emperor is being tyrannical, they can dissolve the Imperium.
Yeah. If he uses the veto, right, then they can do something he can't veto. But it would be a pretty extreme step.
Yeah.
Right, but the way, even like, again, my entire knowledge about this kind of thing is Roman in origin, but it's the bit of, the Emperor can always deny, but you have the right to petition. So, and in Rome, kind of the same traveling distance thing. You would travel to Rome to present your petition, and then the Emperor would do whatever.
Or wherever he happened to be in the middle of a civil war.
Right. So that kind of thing.
I think you should do that, but I think you should write everything between the lines. Don't say anything that directly states your opinion or interest, right? Force him to be the one to tell you what to do. Right? Don't offer to do anything, but say you're available to do whatever he needs, and let him cross the Rubicon.
Should I mention, do you think that, having had the honor to escort the princess, so he knows that?
Yeah, I've recently escorted the princess, which was my great honor. I'm on Lunian with the Void Gazer, and will soon be traveling to meet you. And while I'm here on Lunian, I've had the pleasure of entertaining the princess, right? Saying, she's here, I'm here, the ship's here, and I'm coming to you soon. He has to be the one to say, okay, put her on the ship.
That's a good call.
And if the Emperor does decide to do this, we should notify Sir Wendell, right? That we're doing it because the Emperor demanded it, not because, we need to appear to Sir Wendell as to be caught up in this something beyond our capabilities, rather than stooges for the Emperor.
Right. So, okay, I'm going to make arrangements to purchase the appropriate writing materials for a response to the Emperor and the Imperial household. I'm assuming that's actual vellum and all that stuff, and wax for my seal.
Did you read and write Valand?
No.
Perhaps Calvier should write the letter.
You think?
I think you
What
should
was the Imperial
only
letter
write
written in?
It would be written multiple times in Valani and Anglic.
Yeah, I can translate whatever you want to Velani, that's not a problem. And Anglic, I suppose.
Okay.
I just assume the Empire still holds to its anti-Soleimani ways.
Well, Anglic is not Soleimani.
It's more Soleimani than Valand.
Yeah.
We came from the planet Anglic comes from.
Anglic is like the lingua franca. It's more of a polyglot.
But I'm pretty sure Anglic is derived from Earth languages.
It is, but it's one of those languages that enough people... Valani is one of those things that's spoken by... Like, all nobles are expected to know Valani once they get high enough in rank. But the Empire, the Third Imperium is so vast that Anglic becomes is your next fallback.
I'm being a little bit of a nationalist here in saying that Englic is ours, right? and I'm saying that Velanis don't like.
So Mad Terra is held by
Yes.
the Imperium.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Basically, I'm saying, the Empire is gonna be a racist. So don't put yourself in the position where he has to be racist.
So what I'm going to do is, once I've gotten all the materials, I'm going to write it in Ursotic, then in
Ooh.
Anglic, and then I'll have Calvir translated into Volani.
Old.
Well,
like
I
it.
mean,
I like it.
yeah, the Ursa are legitimate and loyal members of the Empire, so why not write it?
Someone
in
said-
I mean, what does the Ursa letter look like? Is it just a bunch of grunts or paw
It's
marks?
very
or something
guttural, I
like that?
think.
Sort of like
No, it's-
German.
Lots of phlegm.
A bit German, huh?
It probably uses, I would imagine it uses a borrowed alphabet, kind of like a lot of Native American tribes that don't have their own written alphabet. Yeah, I mean, it's the oral language predates the written language. So, and as for all I know, the Ursas, had a sequoia of their own and have their own alphabet. But the book is non-specific. Although it does do a cool bit of like the Ursotic language is like part. There's bits of like uplifted ape in it and some bits of other languages, but that when the scientists who were first uploading it, got around to messing with the bear's speech apparatus, like the larynx and everything, that they were shocked and troubled to discover that the Ursa already had a language and were talking to each other, which I think is like a really cool lick in there. It's just kind of, holy shit. You just kind of see the scientists go, oh fuck.
This
That made someone's career.
Mm-hmm.
and I probably at first they didn't believe them. Oh, you're just making stuff up. No. Here's my data. You faked the data. I did not.
And then the Ursas rebelled.
Yeah. I told you. Who was the first on the wall? Not him. No.
Right.
So the purpose of this personal interaction with the Emperor is going to be carouse in a sense, and that you're making good. Well, that'll be part of it. Part of it is just to get him, is just to say that it's worded in such a way that you give a positive impression. If there's some secret message you're inserting as part of that, that'll be a different role. This part is just the wording it in such a way that it will be well received.
Yeah, I don't think there's a secret message. It's kind of like what Calvir said. We're just
Paying respects.
Princess, we'll be there. Had the honor and pleasure of transporting the princess and cooking for her, and lay out the facts so that if he wants us to bring her when we come, he can say, "Oh, and bring my daughter."
Yeah, we're not trying to convey anything secret. We're telling him the facts so that if he decides to use those facts, right, it's not on us.
Okay.
What page is that?
184, book 1.
There we are.
And as Calvir's assisting you, what skill will Calvir be using to assist with the framing
My
the letter?
language skill, in fact. I am a native in Vellani, right? My thing is to just translate the thing that he writes. If he wants me to actually assist him with writing the letter, I could possibly assist with either bureaucrat or admin.
If it's just language alone, as it's your native tongue, I will treat that as a +3. But if you have a skill that's better than that, you may want to use that instead.
I don't think philosophy really works here. No, so go ahead and take the +3 from my native language.
So this is a carouse?
Yep. You're just being nice. You're not trying to convince him anything, you're not asking him anything, you're just making a good impression on the guy.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. I don't think casual works. Hey, Imp, what's happening, buddy?
Also, law of inferiority, because you're speaking with the Emperor of the Third Imperium.
Well,
It'd
probably not
probably
with
be
him
active
directly.
listening, right? You're telling him how much you like him and that you're glad he sent his message and that you're at his disposal, right?
Think so?
Like I said, you're probably not going to be speaking to him directly. Probably someone that reads his letters.
You never
An
know.
adjudicator.
A seneschal.
A seneschal, yes, that's a word.
I've played too many nobility games. You start learning some of the titles after a while. Who do I need to not piss off the most? Oh, you're just some such and such. Oh, whatever. Seneschal,
Yeah, I
probably
guess-
shouldn't tick you off.
I guess active listen is best.
Okay. So 4.
Let's do. Oh damn! Active listen gives you no chance to use a tactic.
But using 1 die with his +3, you're basically good unless you're trying to add something else to it. But you basically can't fail this now because you're appealing to his.
Yeah, my brain had farted, and for some reason I was thinking 1D was really hard. So, yeah, okay. So 1D, 4 + 3, 7 on 1D, and let's roll 6.
Oh, there you go. So given how well the letter is written, you can expect to have +1 dice when interacting with the Emperor the next time you run into him or you interact with him. Just because you between you and Calvier, you write it in different words, and Calvier actually gives some suggestions about like certain lyrical words that are used when speaking to Imperial nobility, and there's a way that you can, if you change what you're saying in your languages, he can use a certain special word it shows a higher level of connection with the Sicilian kingdom,
Right.
and all that. So it's really appealing to this guy because he's from Capital, like he's born of and lives
Hey, me too.
on Capital. So it's one of those like, oh hey, it's a fellow Capitalite. Now the Emperor isn't supposed to play favorites among the Third Imperium. The Warrant of Restoration kind of wants all of humanity together to enjoy the stars. But then again, not often you
Hometown.
see hometown boys. It's like, hey, I don't see people write this way outside of the kingdom, basically.
Okay, cool. And let me see what kind of services we have. Looks like Lunian does have a scout base.
Yep.
So yeah, and well, which do I think would be better? Sending it would make the better impression. Sending it by the Navy or by the Scout Service?
You're deciding who gets to say hi to the Emperor. So you're doing somebody a favor.
Then definitely the Scout Service. I'll send it via the Scout Service.
Much to the annoyance of the Navy, and the Scout goes, well, hey, sometimes we deliver mail to the Emperor too.
Right. I was in the Scouts a lot longer than I was in the Navy.
And just for clarification, that was signed Sir Tarbin Arctos, Baronet, Lord Gorham, and shareholder of Latvici.
If that seemed appropriate, that's what I did.
You're beholden to reveal your noble title, but everything else is up to your discretion. Because you can go right down to your entire UPP, like your entire education history. Depends
Right.
how much you wish to, how fully you wish to introduce yourself or address yourself.
Right. I don't necessarily see the need to. Well, I'll do like, I'll mention, shareholder and whatever my corporate role is. I don't know if I'm CTO, Chief Technical Officer, since I'm the engineer.
I put it my best guess somewhere at one point, and I don't remember where I put that down. I put you down as the COO, Chief of Operations, right? Because you're the Chief Engineer, and then I put Trusani down as Chief Research Officer.
Okay. Yep. COO.
Oh, and
Yeah,
it's in the corporate notes when I tried to make that thing.
Hey, they're coming down with
the
the decision, and some people start pointing at one of the screens, and they ask the guys to turn it up, and you see that there is the Wendell von Alfred Commission has receipts, and there's a bunch of people. Now you're seeing why some people are gathering here. It's to watch the commission. I mean, commissions happen all the time, but it doesn't usually involve high social standing people. Some people kind of groan when they notice that it seems to be it's the rogue merchant Kishuri Kamshiku rather. And Sir Wendell says, with a brace of other nobles around him, some in naval uniform, some in noble uniform. And you see sitting behind him in a standing, like in a observer position. They're not on the commission; they're just there as part of the naval committee. And he says, "Merchant Kushuri Kamshiku, you are recognized. Please stand for your sentence." The human kind of stands up and looks around and fidgets a lot and looks really grumpy. And so you can hear some people in the gallery are kind of jeering him because he's showing disrespect to people who outrank him, basically. He just gives them looks. His lawyer painfully just tugs at him, "Please stop." And he finally straightens up his outfit and kind of stands at some sort of attention, but he seems largely disinterested. Due to your crimes as stated on the record, as perpetrated through your free trade ship Hori Wayfarer, it is found by this commission that you have not risen to the level of violating the warrant of restoration or committing treasonous acts against the Imperial Navy. However, due to your obstruction of this commission's activities and the waste of its time, you are to be fined 8 million mega credits. And he just starts shouting. He starts getting ready to move up, and his lawyer holds him down, and you can tell the lawyer's trying to tell him, you got off light, just shut up. And there's chaos for a bit. And then some people are like, "Oh, come on, that's a rogue merch if I ever heard of one. How did he get away with a fine? That's ridiculous." And there's all kinds of commotion over by the TV. Whatever is being said, you can't hear anymore.
And I assume I heard it wrong that it's 8 mega credits, not 8 million mega credits, because I don't know if the Empire has that much wealth.
Oh, 8 mega credits, my bad, sorry. I mixed the two in my head.
Do we have that much?
I don't even think the Emperor has that much.
Oh, dear.
That 8 million mega credits, you're talking RU at some point. Yeah, 8 mega credits is how much the merchant Kushuri Kameshiku is fined.
Cassian also thinks, I know I've made it to some degree, because that fine wouldn't hurt me that much. I could manage.
You can see why a good chunk of the room is very upset. Come on, that's a slap on the wrist to a good rogue merchant. On the plus side, the room's not really paying attention to the three of you. Everyone's glued to the TV waiting for the proceedings to continue.
Yeah, so I will send the letter off via the scout service to the Emperor, or the Emperor's household, or to whatever appropriate office.
Yeah, that you've now made it the Imperial Scout Services problem.
Yeah.
All right. Do we intend to host the Emperor on the Void Gazer? Do we want to host the Emperor at a constructed villa on the planet?
No, there are no constructed villas on the planet.
Well, I know. That's what I mean. We'd have to build it.
Do we want to host the Emperor in a prefab on the planet?
I that's what I meant. Like the highest order of prefab. He knows where he's going. He knows he's not going to a populated planet.
Yeah. It's going to be a red zone planet. It's a forbidden planet, actually.
What's the atmosphere like? Breathable, normal gravity?
Technology levels, a printing press. Very typical.
Atmosphere is thin, breathable, without protection.
Yeah.
And the gravity? Just trying to know if it would be comfortable to...
About 0.59.
A little bit over half a G.
Yeah. I don't know that we're going to want to take in planetside.
There's people who live down there, about 800 people.
Who are extremely xenophobic.
Don't worry, they vote.
On what? Tarbin is their only access to any kind of voting body in the Imperium.
Among themselves.
Generally, mostly, they're like efficiency at -5. They're extremely poor. But the labor is in the tens. So
Labor
yeah,
and no wealth. Now as a newly minted capitalist, that's my type of place.
Yeah. So I would say if we are to host the Emperor anywhere, it should best be aboard the Void Gazer, I would think.
All right.
If we have appropriate facilities.
Yeah, I think I think some crew can stay here for a while. Perhaps the first officer in the Baronet would like to take some time on Lunian, and that'll give us 3 slots we can fit him and 1 or 2 other people on.
You think the Emperor would come on board our ship without at least a full complement of 12 guards?
It's better for him to say no than for us to say, I'm sorry, we can't.
Right.
This is
we
the
don't
ship
have
we have.
any. Right.
More
we don't have-
technologically advanced or whatever he's coming on.
Yeah, but not exactly
No,
guest oriented.
No, I know he's not. Like, it's not a pleasure ship. I just want to have the space in case for some reason he says, yes, I want to be on the ship to do some backroom deals away from my people.
You know, we could also rent or even buy, depending on what our situation is and if we think we have use for it in the future, a luxury yacht to travel with us, so we have a place specifically to throw a party.
I'd hate to buy a ship,
yeah,
and not have one commissioned. I'd be down. I'd be fine with commissioning one, but
I mean, we could always rent one.
I can go down. I can go down to the docks and see what's here. Let me see.
Let me pull up my. Whoops, that's the traveler map I need.
We need to keep some credits on hand for yearly maintenance and.
Well, find out how much it's going to cost, because since this is kind of Tarbin's. This is happening all because of Tarbin's Imperial connections. You know, let's find out how much it costs. I might be able to pay for it out of my pocket.
Well, I mean, the company, right? Calcine's willing to authorize the company to pay it on the understanding that, you know, company business will be broached, maybe not with the Emperor directly, but his advisors, right? That Tarbin is not only out here for his own Imperial ambitions, but his ambitions and the company's ambitions.
Right,
but
right.
If it's just your ambitions, then yeah, you should pay for it.
I'm just saying, I'm willing to rent it. But I'm looking for opportunities always. I mean,
well, I was going to say,
it's not one of those things where you say business 20 times and then write it off as a business launch.
We have 1 resource unit on hand, but I really don't think we should dig into that.
Right.
But
let's find out the cost of renting a luxury yacht and crew for
3 months.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what I was getting to. I was trying to get to, like, I think 6 million is the most the company could reasonably spend. After that, we'll have to dig into our own pockets.
Right. Well, let's see what the cost is before we make any decisions.
Well, that was the other thing was there are several times now where we haven't been able to get back together, so that's why I was trying to get a baseline agreed to.
Yeah.
In case you get another Imperial summons.
Seems to be happening a lot for a new Baronet.
Yes. Worrying so. All right. Then I will. I have to go to the Stern Metal meeting, and then I'll look into this. I urge.
Or I can look into the ship end of things. while you do stern metal, unless you need me at stern metal.
I will remind Sir Tarvin that the princess does expect a reply, as she can only delay the commission so long.
Oh, what's she expecting a reply to?
About how precisely you're going to help her in regards to her culinary journey.
Oh, okay. Very good. Well, I guess I'll go see the princess then.
Would you mind if I accompanied you? Just,
Nope.
I'd like to see the princess as well.
Sure. Come along.
All right.
I'd like to see the princess. Calvin wants to be an imperial prince.
Me, a simple future farmer, never.
Yeah. If you want to be a simple farmer, then I would avoid imperial entanglements of all types.
I merely wish to meet a member of the imperial royal family.
Don't we all?
I'm just a simple farmer named Cincinnatus.
Hopefully, Calvary is not called upon to save the empire.
Like 3 times.
Grief.
Don't worry, he's only dictator for life once in a while.
It's important if you give it up.
Yep.
All right. I don't know if we all have time to go to Stern Metal and split up, but right, I think we have all our merchant orders. If we can all make it to Stern Metal, that's probably best. If not, then I definitely will be there.
You could do both. The Imperial Princess has been very patient. She can wait about another hour longer. You know what I mean? You wouldn't want to make her wait a whole day, but
Right.
Well, that's right. I didn't write down. I wrote down the Stern Metal, but I don't think I had a date, and I don't think it was the same day. It was before the commission, but
yeah, it'd be tomorrow on the 25th.
Okay.
Would be that meeting, the Stern Metal meeting.
Okay. So, shall we go see the Empress? The princess?
I see which route we are taking then. Very well, let's go see the wink wink princess.
yeah. Then while you go talk to her, I'll go to the shipyard. I mean the shipyard, not the dock.
Okay.
What do you do at the dock?
I look over I want to look at the records of who's in port, like the business records, and look for the largest, most extravagant, and newest yacht or cruise liner.
You're pricing, basically.
Yes.
You were saying you guys wanted it for how long again? Month?
3 months.
3 months?
Basically, we're hiring all of their rooms out for 3 months, I guess. But hey,
We're chartering the ship.
it also has to be able to wild refuel, right? Which is not a usual thing on liners.
You would not see both on a luxury yacht. Luxury yachts don't. Well, if you wanted to have an expeditionary ship, that's different than a luxury yacht. Luxury yachts don't like going away from inhabited places.
Yeah, that was going to be an issue.
Well, okay.
I guess we could also look into hiring a fueler.
No, you don't even need to do that because I read his book. So what we can do is they're these big they're basically big balloons of fuel. We go to Gorham ahead of time and we create a fuel dump basically around a certain asteroid or in some specific location in the system so that there's fuel waiting for the luxury yacht there.
Oh yeah, we spend a couple of days using our refinery to refine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can. It kind of depends on how big it is, how long we have to do it. But I see what you. The only thing is, the luxury liner has to have the facilities to use. I guess you're not talking about using external pods with fuel. You're talking about fueling from the tanks we deposit the fuel into the ships directly.
Like, yeah, I mean, basically the way that Miller described it in his book was, and he said this is kind of how scouts and people who are going off into kind of unknown do it. They're basically fillable polymer balloons or containers that they collapse very small, and then you fill them with fuel, and you leave them in a certain orbit or attached to a certain asteroid or somewhere, and then you've got a fuel or supply cache for your next few jumps. But yeah.
All right, and which means we don't need to wait around here too long because we're gonna have to jump before this liner jumps out there. To create the fuel deposits. Well, I take that back. No, because we have, right? We can have the Void Gazer doing that while the liner's out there doing its job.
Right. Well, I didn't figure we would want the liner just be hanging out in Gorham. I figured it would jump when we're jumping to meet the Emperor.
Yeah, it'll jump with us. I was saying we didn't have to go and prepare the fuel before they get there.
Right.
We can prepare the fuel while the liner's already at Gorham. GM, what would be the cost if we take on all the costs for like food and amenities? So instead of our guests paying for them, we would just be paying for them. So that basically anyone we brought onto the ship could eat, drink, and carouse and stay for free.
They give you a 50,000 discount because you're saving them on that part of it.
Well, no, I meant the price for us to pull that off.
So, I'm going to try again. So the price to rent them is 500,000.
Yes.
And you were hoping to get a discount of some kind.
No, I was hoping to make it so that, like, if the Emperor or his entourage or anyone came aboard the ship, they have no expenses. They don't pay for rooms. They don't pay for food. They don't pay for drinks, entertainment, anything like that.
That'd be part of it. That's part of the rental. You're chartering them to steward and house people and stuff like that for a while.
That's fine. I just didn't want us only to pay for the rooms, and so then the Emperor comes on and tries to get a ham sandwich, and they say
$5.99.
Yeah.
I thought you were pre-buying the food. I was like, you're okay. I guess you could save them having to buy food themselves.
And
was there?
I won't even go through the trouble for only 50,000 credits anymore.
Yeah. Was there any indication that the Emperor would wanting to be setting foot on the planet in Gorham? Particular.
He wishes to perform an inspection of the star system.
Which he can do from the Void Gazer. In fact, he could get a more accurate view of the planet from the Void Gazer than he could from actually standing foot on it.
As Sir Tarbin would know, it's on his pleasure be pleased the poor, as it were. It's like, if the Emperor wills it, he will go to the planet. If he wills it, he will stay in the stars.
Okay.
So it's one of those, he doesn't have to, it's one of those, he's here, he's letting you know he happens to be stopping by. Please clean up and don't get his shoes dirty.
So do you want me to go buy, like, prefabs and stuff? Because we have a 200 tons of cargo we can haul out there ourselves.
Yeah, we probably want to do that too. I was also just thinking about the, the Emperor's safety.
I thought about that too, but I also thought hiring a bunch of mercenaries to follow us out there was the exact opposite way of doing it.
Right.
I was hoping the
there, but
Imperial Navy could manage safety.
we definitely want to be in Gorham, not necessarily before his advanced team, but for a week or two before he gets there. So we can check out things before he does.
All right. Yeah. So, so it's 25. We want to leave.
Probably want to leave on 45, 46.
I was thinking 46.
Okay. Yeah, it gets us there 2 weeks before he's supposed to arrive.
Well, it gets us there 1 week before.
1 week before he's supposed to arrive. Yeah.
All right, then I will negotiate that fee with the steward of that ship. Oh, and can I send their info off to the to our law firm to do a basic background check on the crew?
You could, yeah.
All right. Then I will make sure that I'll make sure that there aren't any like anarchists working in the kitchen.
It's the damn cook.
It's always the cook.
Do you wish to just pay the market rate that they're offering, or are you going to try to broker it down?
No, I want them to I want them to feel like they got a good deal so that they do this correctly. I don't want to go out there with them feeling like they have to do this on the cheap and they make mistakes or something. I don't want to spare any expense to do this right.
Right. Yeah, easily done. It's a matter of just talking back and forth, securing the funds, sending off the appropriate mail. And as this is an Imperial subsector capital, yeah, they have a branch office here. So you don't have to wait. You'll get a pretty rapid. You'll probably get a reply by end of week, because I'll have to take time to look through the database and double check it, recheck it, hire an agent to recheck it again, that sort of thing. That's all part of your fee. That's why you retain them. If there's anything extra, they'll call you first and go, "Hey, we want to do this extra thing. Do you want us to do that? Because it costs more." That'd be like an extremist thing. Like, it'd be a very odd thing if they did that. But a general check, that's just part of the fee.
All right. I also, I guess I'll send a message off to Tarbin about how does the ship have a pretty big capacity, like in the hundreds of rooms or in the tens of rooms?
It's pretty passenger heavy off the top of my head. Just because. Oh, there's a faster way to look this up. Wait, no, I can look it this way.
Because my theory is if I don't expect if the ship seems large enough that the Emperor's entourage is not going to fully take over everything, then I might see if Tarbin wants to wheel and deal and let some other Imperial nobles or some other Imperial naval officers tag along for goodwill or favors.
Okay.
And perhaps a few enterprising young Imperial Marines who look like they could defend the Emperor in a pinch.
Ah. Yeah, Tarbin, upon receiving this communication, will contact, since there is a naval base here, naval intelligence, and have them do vetting for the shipping crew that we've hired. I figure they may go a little deeper and have some more resources than the civilian agency.
You could have them do that, especially once you tell them why you want them to check. 'Cause
Yeah.
normally there'd be a check, but if you're saying it's because I'm doing security arrangements, it's like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
You're doing security arrangements for the Imperial family. We're actually required to look into it. Now that now that you've alerted us.
Right. And
Oh, and this yacht, by the way, to answer the earlier question, is about 20 staterooms beyond
Okay,
the crew.
Unless a duke or an admiral wants a seat, I think we don't really have room to go giving people outside the Emperor's entourage space.
okay.
But then again, right? If you want to mention it to a duke or an admiral, not that they'll listen. Apparently, Imperial dukes don't like to take audiences, but if you could get a hold of one,
Right.
not yours though. He might be a criminal.
Might be is the key word here.
Well, you know,
If we're not gonna go to the wall for a princess, I don't think we're going for a duke.
well, I would not be surprised if my noble superior also showed up if the Emperor's visiting in this particular subsector,
I mean, at his own expense.
unless he's, way away or something, which is totally possible.
What an insult if he comes to your little middle of the nowhere world and says, "Hey, Baronet, come meet me," and does not meet or sit in or communicate to the Duke at all,
That's a good way to lose votes on the moot in a hurry.
or send a message to a Duke who's been kind of disloyal or not on the Imperial side of things.
What's in book 3? Oh, no wonder I wasn't finding it.
He's either building a tank or a gun. Or a robot, I guess. Or a robot tank with a gun. You could do it all in book 3.
Sounds like an ad.
You're not wrong.
I'm not, because Thingmaker's there, where you can literally make anything you want, except the thing you want.
Right. It will only take you 20 to 25 hours.
Also, all the master mods are in the tables are in the first book, so I just wasted my time. But anyway. So yes. Any other purchases at the docks before we cut over to the princess?
I don't think at the docks. Calcian's birthday is in 3 days, so I do want to go prepare an extravagant night out for the company members. Who cares about celebrating a holiday? I want to celebrate my own birthday.
So, I almost said reduce something, but anyway, but wrong game. What is appropriate here? This one? No, that's the other one. Yeah. Yes. Couldn't remember which one was which. So. Oh, you can see the maps now. Map. So, Sir Tarbin and Professor Calvier are led into a apartment that the princess has. on the station. It is richly decorated. Various fineries about the walls. And both of you would have been asked to identify yourselves at the door, but the minute you do, you're let through without any further trouble. But on the inside, rather than seeing a brace of ladies in waiting or men or lords in waiting, you see that there are Imperial Marine guards standing in full kit, but not with their rifles in hand. They're kind of like almost like a parade rest, except they're dressed for like they're in their service uniforms. So like the rifles are sitting at their, like the butts are into the ground, their hands resting on the barrel, sort of thing.
Arbin kind of raises an eyebrow. Is there like her seneschal here or major domo?
You hear her voice call out over the intercom. Sir Arctos, who is your companion?
This is the Honorable Calvir Trusani, well-known professor, and also instrumental in saving the Sword Worlds from the recent Sonic Plague. Also a fellow shareholder in my shipping company and the Void Gazer.
And ever a humble servant of the Empire, Your Excellence.
What's Calvir's social standing?
13.
Oh, there's a brief pause on her end.
Wow, you're very sociable.
You both may enter my chambers.
Oh my god, is this really happening?
You notice the tension in the room relaxes, and the guards actually pop their rifles off the ground, and then they shoulder them to their on one shoulder, and then they present it in front of them with two hands, and they shift it to the other shoulder. There we go.
Right. Yep. Tarbin will lead the way, and then open the door and bow deeply on the way in.
Yes, I will kneel when I enter and again
Yep.
reintroduce myself. Your Excellency, I am Professor Calvir Trusani of the Imperial University, and I stand humbly before your presence.
You may rise, Professor.
I'll rise.
Tarbin will have knelt as well.
Lord Gorham,
Your Highness.
I wonder at the preparations that you have made and how educated the professor is on your culinary arts.
The professor has long been dining at my table, and I saw no reason to refuse him any opportunity to do so again. The Void Gazer is in port and refueled and taken what very minor repairs were necessary after its voyage. However, there has been an interesting occurrence since we last spoke. I received a letter from His Majesty your father, informing me that he will be inspecting my demesnes in a little under 29 days, and inviting me to attend him as he does so. I, of course, replied in the affirmative and informed him that it had been my pleasure and honor to escort you here to Lunian.
How does this affect the main course? I'll note she hasn't said for you to rise this whole time. She's being
Right, yeah.
So Calamir's kind of in this position where he's getting to stand and he's not being told to sit or anything. He's
Right.
allowed to stand upright. Sir Arctos, I wonder about how this will affect the main course presentation you had in mind.
Well, as I said to your highness, I believe that we have the connections necessary to allow you access to certain spices that normally are either unavailable or so rare as to be highly valuable for Darian cooking. I don't think anything should interfere with that. However, our travel to the section will be delayed until I have attended His Majesty your father. However, it does occur to me that there are certain circumstances where the near opportunity to attend your father, His Majesty, might be of benefit not only to myself as his loyal servant, but also to your highness as his daughter and an Imperial citizen.
Professor,
Yes, Your Excellency.
how educated are you on mathematics and its interactions with history?
I took a course in university, Your Excellency, but I am nowhere near an expert. My expertise lies in different fields, I'm afraid.
I see.
But I was informed by Lord Gorham here about your what your psychohistory people have found out. I happened to look at the data, and I haven't noticed. Well, again, I'm no expert, Your Excellency, but I haven't really noticed anything out of place.
Ah. You're from a Lel, right?
Yes, Your Excellency.
At an interesting academic rise at their university.
If you say so, Your Excellency. I consider it very humble based on where I started off.
Oh, but it is from humble beginnings from which great things can be achieved.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Even the Terrans know that much.
Of course, Your Excellency.
And, Sir Tarbin, you don't come from the Spinward Marches. My understanding is correct?
No, Your Highness. Indeed, I am a native of Capital.
I see. So you comprehend the weight of the Imperium and its role in humanity and all that they protect and serve, including the
Indeed.
Ursine people.
Indeed.
Then I have to ask,
Your Highness.
The suspense is killing me.
to what calculation do you see the future of Alel and Capital, and thereby your future, should I be refused? Unless there's some other calculation that you've made, some other variable that's being inserted into the matter.
What is she talking about?
Yeah, what is she saying? Is she threatening us? It's like, hey, either.
Is she thinking that I'm suggesting she killed the Emperor and take over?
Intelligence roll 2 dice.
I'll take that. Jesus.
Let's see if I
I
have
got
anything
it.
else.
She is threatening you. She specifically seems to be insinuating she wants to not be here any longer than she has to. And she's worried that you two are suggesting that she has to answer to the commission.
Ah.
So she's starting to lay on a bit of capitalistic threat, as it were. A thinly veiled Villani threat.
Either do it or I destroy your planet and everyone you love.
Well, she's not going to destroy capital. She's probably not going to destroy Allele either.
No, she can destroy my planet. There's fucking nothing on it.
She struggles to manage Sir Wendell von Alpha. I think we'll be fine.
Right.
No, but she has friends in high places.
Not very many, apparently.
Says the guy not in the room and nowhere near
Right.
the line of fire.
It's okay, we're having a telepathic conversation. Our Jadani is linking us up, it's fine.
That's right.
I need to formulate a response, hang on.
Sure.
Right.
She's not threatening at all. I'm not going to be in the room when she threatens you, but she's not a threat, guys. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to be over here having lunch. It's fine.
I mean, what's she gonna do in the room? She's surrounded by guards.
Right. Well, the guards may turn on us before they realize that they've been manipulated. But anyway, it is an interesting consideration, Your Highness, one which I'm sure His Majesty, your father, would also be interested in. In other words, that's kind of saying, between Highness and Majesty, yes, you're the Imperial Princess, but, he's the Emperor. And, the intimation being, there's a hierarchy and I know who wins between those two in 90% of the cases,
So you purport that you are a variable of large enough degree that you can turn the tide of psychohistory.
I can't speak to that, Your Highness. I merely purport that I am a loyal and honorable servant of the Empire and His Majesty, your father. Now, nothing about any of this changes the opportunity that I believe you would do well to take advantage of with the Palm Beak spices that you and I have spoken of and enjoyed.
You seriously believe you can achieve both your variable and see me out of the equation?
Well, there's always hope.
She
Your Highness.
laughs and laughs and laughs. And not a polite, noble laugh, it's a hearty laugh.
Right. And there's always the possibility that your psychohistorians have come to one or more incorrect conclusions.
Your Excellency, may I speak?
Oh, please, I need the entertainment.
When I was still a researcher at the Imperial University, I led an expedition to Asgard. On this planet, there lives a very interesting species of what you would classify as an avian, a sort of bird. This bird, decorated with many grand and colorful feathers, has a limited lifespan because not only is it located on that hellscape of a world, but also because after mating, the female decides to decapitate the male. It is a law of nature. It has always been written in the history of the people who lived there and in the laws of nature that this must happen. Yet, when I was there, I witnessed the most interesting phenomenon. There was the occasional mating ritual between these birds, but one of these times the male decided that he was not going to get decapitated. Instead, he fought back against what was predestined to happen to him. The male, after he was observed for quite a while, evolved after that. There was a special case of armor on his neck, so that he may not get decapitated again. What I'm trying to say, Your Excellency, is that our predestined futures need not happen should we decide not to let them happen. Just like that bird, we are in control of our destinies, not a bunch of numbers or psychohistory experts, Your Excellency.
Says the farmer.
A humble profession, Your Excellency.
A small rock under the right horse's hooves can topple an empire and change the course of history.
Well, Earth
Who's to
managed
say?
it, and then they nearly set fire to the stars. Why should I stay around while the fire starts? Especially by those who purport themselves the rock of which history will roll over and crush.
I'm not saying that we are such a stone in the hooves of history, but I am suggesting that Your Highness may not need to be in as much of a hurry as she may believe.
Give me personal interaction. I think I know.
From my reading of your experts' findings, there is some time.
Give me a persuade.
Yeah. Appeal to, maybe?
Appeal to something, yep.
Yeah.
We are being very nice to her.
Logic, morality, culture. Maybe logic? Like, all from what I get, everything she gave me is like, okay, the emperor could be dead within a year. These various other polities are teetering on brinks. There's going to be chaos coming and whatever, but it's not likely that all this is going to happen in the next, month. It's more likely not to happen in the next month than it is to happen in the next month. So, cool your jets. In the larger version of this bird's eye view provided by psychohistory, there's still time to get her to Darien and far away from the implosion of the empire.
So 3 to 6.
Besides, like I said, who says that what the psychohistorian said should happen?
Right.
Why don't we just make our own fate?
No. I'll take a -1 to use another strategy of politeness.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 6 to 12.
+2 because you're using because you're in an inferiority position. Being polite does give you a bonus.
Okay.
And you get an additional +1 because I don't think you and Calvier are opposing points. You're both driving the same point.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 15 on 3 dice. Got it.
Then I suppose, Lord Gorham and Professor, that I will see what this commission and the moot that conspires with it has in store. And we'll just have to see how the calculations abide. And perhaps I'll get to sample your spices.
Well, and again, Your Highness, it is always comforting to an Imperial citizen to know that the Emperor's ear and the Emperor's justice is near.
You underestimate the power of the moot, Lord Gorham. You may rise and be dismissed, the both of you. Good day.
Tarbin will kind of bow his head, but then to kind of make a point about there's kneeling and there's kneeling, he will do the Ursine thing of walking away on all fours. So kind of leaning forward, like, whatever.
No, I'll look at him like, huh? What the hell is he doing?
Oh yeah, they can do that.
Yeah,
I'll bow out as well, but just I'll walk out on my own 2 feet.
Yes. Oh no, I'm down on one knee. What a disadvantage. Oh wait.
Well, it's on the
I'm a goddamn bear.
When we exit, I'll say to Tywin, that's a shame. I thought my bird analogy would have helped there.
Well, I mean, I think between the two of us, we're both very persuasive.
Well,
Thank the stars.
who knows what goes on in the minds of young women like the princess? Could be a million things.
Who knows how young she really is, given anti-aging drugs.
Well, let me rephrase that. Who knows what goes on in the heads of royalty?
The royals aren't like us.
No, sir, they are not.
Yeah, the royals are different. It's not the rich are different. The royals are different.
Do you think she might be a lizard?
Almost certainly.
Share a hearty laugh.
Ho ho ho. Rar 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 rar.
So, I imagine some preparations are being made for the Emperor. Some preparations are being made for your meeting with the Mega Corporation.
Right.
Oh, something's going to be said. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tarbin would like to reach out to the Marine commander on let's see. To the Marine commander on the naval base.
Yeah.
And I'm going to inform him of, what we're doing as far as the Emperor's coming. We're going to meet him. This is my domain. I have room for a small but expert and completely loyal to the Emperor Marine detachment. Could travel on the ship and provide, additional security from my end of things. If there were any, officers and men who might like the opportunity to be involved in such thing and potentially come to His Majesty's attention in a positive way. Basically, what I'm trying to do is offer the opportunity, to help with the Emperor's security to a local detachment of Marines, because that could be a career booster all the way around. And also to kind of, like Calcian said, it's not like I'm going to hire mercenaries to be, Lord Gorham's security, but if I can bring an extra Marine detachment from my end of things, that looks pretty good all the way around.
Give me social standing with 3 dice to see how much you can impress upon them. That because they could just because given the information that you just told them, they could just reach out to the Emperor's service and that his personal guard and go, yeah, we can just get credit with them. It's like, but we could get it with Lord Gorham and say, well, Lord Gorham said this is a good idea, and I agree with him. So it's seeing whether or not he's gonna try to cut you out of the idea and say, no, that was my idea, because he wants to do it. It's just whether or not he wants to screw you or not.
Yeah, that's a fair risk to take.
because that's the social standing
Streetwise
bump if you
or
pulls it up.
jack of all trades?
Jack of all trades. Not
Okay.
quite low enough in a scheme for Streetwise to kick
Yeah,
in.
that's what I figured. You said social standing plus
3 dice.
jack of all 3 dice, so that's 14 on 3. Whoa, he's gonna cut me out.
Don't worry, we've already made our own arrangements. But thank you for reaching out to us, Lord Gorum.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It's worth a shot.
And already, even as you're walking through the halls of the starport, you can already see naval ships mobilizing.
Right. That's fine. The whole goal of that was, in that one, I generally was just trying to get extra protection for the Emperor. So Wendell needs a haircut.
Hey, it looks great on Alpha.
And a tie. Good God.
As Trisani and Arctos are about to reconvene with Langoff, would you be meeting like at the docks somewhere, like near your ship, or like back at the TS lounge, or a nice restaurant?
Always go to the nice restaurant in the TS lounge, right?
Yeah.
Yep. We're not really tourists. We often just pretty much stay near the TS lounge.
Someone's made enemies. Plus, TS is pretty good. Make a corp.
Yep.
Very cosmopolitan. Sir Wendell strides over to your table. He is dressed in various blues and golds, kind of hailing a bit more from the Zolomani or the Soul subsector. But there's obvious Imperial iconography, like the Imperial Sun, and that one is the Imperial Sun, which denotes him as nobility, and another is a Imperial Naval Star, which is also the committee he's on.
Right.
You don't see any military honors. You just see he's wearing just a high social standing outfit.
Right. Tarbin will stand. Sir Wendell, please join us.
Thank you, Baronet. He takes a seat. He looks at Langoff and looks at the sash. Baron?
Yeah.
I believe.
Baron.
Tarbin will make introductions, and I think you already know Professor Trusani.
If we don't, actually we do. Pleasure to see you again.
It's been some time, Professor. I've heard you've been
Quite
very
some time.
busy.
In my own ways, yes.
Oh, before we talk to him, remind me. I think y'all were still traveling with Hervor when we wrapped up the Sir Wendell stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, sorry to impose upon your dinner, but I am here on somewhat official business.
Indeed.
I'm led to believe, Lord Gorham, that you were given the trust. You were able to answer the call, as it were, to deliver the princess into our custody.
Yes, she's here on station.
Is there anything that, I mean, we don't have to do it here on such an informal occasion, but I thought I should, out of respect of your rank, I needed to informally reach out to you. If there's anything you wish to testify to or give over to the commission, rather than on a public forum in a more private forum. Or if there's nothing worth talking about. I mean, for all I know you're an accomplished chef, you may have simply entertained Her Majesty, and we're just a great host. But I am required, as a member of as the head of the commission, to make inquiries. But
well, I can tell you that as far as the committee's areas of interest, the princess has not said or anything to me that either would suggest whatever she may or may not, whatever involvement she may or may not have with the issues you're looking into. In fact, beyond just the fact of getting her here and her wish to delay her appearance before your committee, we honestly didn't speak of it. The princess has several different ambitions, none of which appear to have anything to do with what the commission is looking into. I have discussed some potential business opportunities with the princess, but again, nothing that the community is interested in. Oh, I did mention that His Majesty is inspecting the Gorham system, my domain, in about a month's time.
I heard about that. Congratulations.
Well, your lips to the god's ears.
The Emperor's ears, mind you.
I have seen the Emperor more than once, just from living on Capitol, but never had the potential opportunity of coming face to face with him before. So we are using our resources to best prepare for His Majesty. But as far as I'm aware, not knowing exactly what it is that you are investigating in and around the princess, she has not mentioned anything to me that in any way seems to violate the writ of reconciliation or indicate traitorous thoughts, even, much less desire. And believe me, Sir Wendell, when I tell you that between the princess's royal will and my duty to the Emperor and Empire, I believe if she had really wanted to do anything, I would either know about it or not be here to speak with you.
Sir Wendell kind of looks over at Calvier and Calcian for a bit as you're talking and looks back. I trust that these business opportunities were... This is the first time she's ever reached out to you for business matters? Like, you never met her before serving the warrant?
Correct. She mentioned upon our first meeting some potential directions she had been considering after the hearing, and one of which I thought would redound not only to the princess's benefit, but also honestly to the benefit of our shipping concern. And so I did my best to convince her that would be the best route to take in the future.
So, your company, LatVG, is considering doing business with Her Highness?
In the future, yes. To this point, no business has been taken place, no contracts have signed, and I can assure you that the expenses, both personal and corporate, have all been devoted towards making the princess and soon His Majesty, her father, appropriately welcomed and hosted, and there has been no type of payments, kickbacks, or anything like that.
Wendell smirks when you spell it out.
Yeah. I stopped. Tarbin finally just stops trying to be fancy, and he says, honestly, we've been pouring out money as if it were water to make sure that we make the best impression possible on every member of the Imperial family that has suddenly shown up in my life.
The Imperial family has a way of doing that.
Yes, and there has been no remuneration either in corporate or personal terms for any of it to this point. But yes, if after the committee, the princess wishes to engage in a business venture with us, I don't see any reason not to, as long as the adventure we talked about was certainly within the laws of business of an Imperial registered corporation such as ours.
Well, I should then tell you out of courtesy, Baronet, that pending her testimony to the commission, I may wish to speak with Latvg as well. I don't know what she will say in particular, but if you spoke with her, she may bring you up. But given where His Imperial Highness is coming, I doubt you're going very far. So, unofficially, don't go too far. And he shrugs, though I imagine you won't be. So
yes, we do intend to ship out for Gorham on the 46th, but until that, I personally have no plans to go beyond the Lunian system, and if I do so, I will be happy to inform you on the committee.
Very good. Well, I won't take any more of your time. Thank you for indulging me, Baron.
Sir Wendell?
Good day, Professor.
Good day.
He strides away. Someone offers him a drink, and he just kind of stops and just waves them off like, no, I'm good, and keeps going.
Have we reported to him on the minerals we managed to track down and where we think the shipments were going? Okay, good.
Yeah, we sent a
Wanna
whole
make sure.
report.
There's a reason
Okay.
why his commission got warrants.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, his phrasing does give me some pause, as Latvg did not exist when you spoke with him last, and you only acted as a officer of the Empire when you escorted the princess.
Yeah, we've
Don't
no
see what he has to bring Latvg into this as a company.
unless the princess mentions us, which I think is what he was preparing us for. But
All right, I think it's
but again, I haven't made any deals or signed any contracts. I've made some suggestions to the princess, which were driving her away from anything particularly negative that she was thinking about doing.
Yeah.
I.e., becoming emperor or defecting to the Jodani.
yeah.
So
I think
let's
it's
let's not make any deals with her until after the.
Yeah, I think it's best we go ahead and let our general counsel know and bring them in on this. And if none of us should talk to Sir Alpha again without general counsel present.
Fair enough.
So we'll write a quick email and send that off to the office of the company on this planet.
Very good. You're able to do so?
That's a good point. I haven't spoken to you all morning. No other Imperial brothers or uncles with any letters?
Yes, is there
No
perhaps-
archdukes who need an urgent message carted halfway across the Empire?
I urge you not to manifest such things into being.
It has been a while since I sent the letter to my brother. I hope he has received it. Unless he's off carousing somewhere, as he always did.
Well, such is the nature of messages in space. It may be 3 or 4 years before he gets it, and it may be another 10 before you hear back.
Oh no.
So, what are we talking with this corporation about tomorrow exactly?
We are trying to secure favorable deals with them. Basically, right now they have to ship anything they make or any resources they need via jump 1 or 2 ships. Right, there are jump 3, 4, 5, 6 ships, but generally, from what I've read, merchant ships don't really do that because you're wasting so much space in the hull for fuel. Right, they would much rather make the 1 or 2 jumps at a time and fill all that space with cargo. So jumping from Lunian to Lanth, or from Darien to Beater to Lunian, right? We can offer them like a 3 or 4 times reduction in their fees, right? Because they only pay us for 1 or 2 jumps, whereas they pay other merchants like 4, 3, 4, 5 jumps, right? So I want a favorable deal, right? We'll do business directly with you, not even through the starport, right? You give us, favorable deals. We buy your products for cheaper than they go on the general market because we are offering you such low transportation fees. So basically, I know what we've got is good, and I want them to make us an offer that's worth our time.
Fair enough.
So, I believe the 3 of you enjoy your dinner, enjoy your chats, prepare for what's coming.
Very.
That doesn't sound ominous at all.
Yeah, assuming what's coming is a business meeting, then yes, we're prepared.
Yes.
In the days that come, you learn that the committee carries on with its business. You learn that the agent of Susag is found guilty of a high crime of dishonoring the warrant of restoration and his obligations to which will result in which brings this person's social standing down by a full point. But also, they are fined 200 mega credits, and failure to pay such will result in prison time.
The executive or Susag itself?
The agent himself. Now, whether or not Susag is going to help him pay that, or they're just going to let him twist in the wind, or if he's going to get fired for being found guilty of a societal high crime. The agent's probably going to get fired, unless they have a lot of friends in the megacorp. Because Susag does not need that kind of poison, that sort of radioactivity in their life. The Count of Tenalfi is found guilty of the high crime of slacking in his noble duties, and which resulted in the loss of various goods and services and minerals therein that were supposed to be delivered onto the Navy. It was instead delivered to private concerns. He is to have his countship stripped from him, and he is to be reduced to down to a marquis. He is also to be fined 600 mega credits. the Viscount of Gander, I kind of skipped over him, where a lot of the mining happened, and where the actual mine that was purloined from was. He simply has to pay a fine for basically the same crime that the merchants did, basically wasting the commission's time, because a lot of these people all had this. They all tried to find ways to delay coming, or find ways to stall the proceedings, but. And the Viscount is fined 5 mega credits for wasting the court's time, basically. But he's found not guilty of the other charges. He's just found guilty of wasting the commission's time. The Duke of the Lunian Subsector is merely fined 6 mega credits, because he also tried to stall. And finally, Imperial Princess Saya Army. Although many of the other people around her, the Count Tanalfi, the Agent of Susag, both tried to implicate her as the mastermind behind everything. Why they did what they did. Or at the very least, she made no effort to stop them. Eventually, Sayarmi is able to articulate that given her continuing business concerns and her forward-looking politic, she would have no need to engage in simple graft of naval resources. It is simply beneath her. Sir Wendell does his best to try to push on the matter, but within the confines of Imperial decorum, there's only so much he can do. He does find that and is empowered such that he recommends to the Emperor that given her failure to police her engagements with high criminals against the Empire, that she should be stripped of her royal status and be assigned an archduchy so that she may repay her trust, regain the trust of the imperial people. Because right now, although she is not found to be personally attached to any of the crimes, it is incredibly concerning to the committee and to the commission that she was at all associated with this and could not. That a mere knight of the realm was the one that discovered this, and not an imperial princess who was far closer to the matter. Which some people criticize him heavily for that, because he basically is talking he's talking out of turn. He's talking outside of his social standing. Yeah, that's a recommendation he makes. His commission agrees with them. In all, after the grand, after his commission is done, the mystery of what was happening in Gander is largely solved, and the Imperium is able to get some people into custody. Just not nearly as many as the knight was hoping for.
So she hasn't actually been stripped of her royalty and made an archduke. That's just his recommendation to the emperor. Yeah,
and it's one of those. There are some pundits who are a little concerned because that could be like this always happens whenever any of the imperial family is brought up on charges, and because it's always recommendations. So we recommend to the emperor to do this, and there's always a talk of is this where the Imperium shatters? Will they dissolve over this, or will the emperor concede or disagree? And usually it's either the emperor agrees or he disagrees. And for the last 1,000 so years, 1,112 years, it hasn't been dissolved yet. No one's done the nuclear option, but this is another red button that may or may not be pressed. So quite a few nobles and people are waiting with bated breath what the emperor is going to do. And as for Lat-VG, it seems that your fortunes are largely favorable. with the outreach to the Imperial Princess, despite her attempts to evade the commission, it seems that her going was actually the best thing she could have done. She actually would have made things worse for herself if she left, because then she'd be fleeing an Imperial warrant. And that's a far more serious charge than what she was charged with.
You're welcome, princess.
We totally knew that.
Obviously, she's not going to see it that way.
Well, we totally knew that. Just saying, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we did kind of expect her to get nailed to the wall. But
But it's just not getting ourselves on that same nail.
and kind of
Yeah.
was hoping that Susag would get put up there, but yeah.
Well, they did get slapped at
Mm.
least.
So one of their people got slapped and they're going to drop him. They didn't get touched, though.
Well, you're never going to get a megacorp.
I can dream.
The Sword World Confederacy manages to come away from a year after losing a war and losing a good chunk of their home systems. They actually come out all right. The big advance of curtailing a major plague does actually begin to start a sort of technological and academic revolution in their borders. Because that suddenly becomes something they have to be concerned about. It's not, I mean, it's one thing to settle the hardest of worlds to settle, which they're very proud of. We can survive anywhere, anytime. We can build a colony anywhere. We don't care who says we can't, sort of attitude. It's like, yeah, but there's also diseases that'll kill the crap out of every one of us. So we need to not be quite so isolated. We need to reach out more. We need to, at least on an academic level, which is actually going rather well for them. And actually, to Professor Tusani, as he's looking into his retirement, he's actually invited to live on, what's that bloody world's name? On Narsil.
Narsil, yeah.
As he's offered a teaching position at their university. And to be named the dean of research.
Oh. Can I take like a professor emeritus status or something along those lines? Maybe?
Oh, certainly. If you want to take a lesser honor, like, hey, we're the ones honoring you.
Yeah, the emeritus status is just like, okay, you're a professor in name. Maybe you teach here and there once in a while, but that's about it. My farmland calls to me.
What does actually we'll get to what your sunset in a moment. I knew they were going to reach out to you. As for the border worlds, well, unfortunately, it seems that the chaos of the day falls against them. The religious conflict that started from a simple anti-corruption charge and certain raised interests by the Susag megacorporation regarding corruption in their nascent government has revealed deep fractures between the Aesirites and the Church of Megadol, which leads to a massive civil war within its borders that spreads to all the border worlds, which the larger interstellar community is staying well out of. That is a internal matter that travelers are told to avoid, as the entirety of the Border Worlds Confederation turns into a red zone. Although the Imperium does send in observers to ensure that things don't get out of hand, that it simply stays a personal planetary war, not a planet-cracking, population-wiping out sort of war. Although the Imperial Navy continues to monitor from the skies. The Jordani Consulate, despite having lost a war, is able to engender its connections with the Imperium and actually kind of turn the tide on their tensions for a long time, as it seems that a lot of the machinations that happened in the last year, the Jordani weren't really causing any problems. They were tied to a lot, but it seems that they largely were enriched by certain artifacts and the free travel of one of its nobility to inspect the realm, as it were, to inspect the region. And largely it's been to the consulate's benefit. To it has become to the attention of many that the Quarian subsector has a mass settlement drive that extends even further from Quirion to Fessor and to Redane, forming a lesser kingdom of the Rimward consulate. Although nascent though it is, it could turn into a more powerful regional power, but that is a problem for the Jordani, as many would say. As for the Darien Confederacy, or technocracy, there were some attempts to to defraud them and steal their worlds through piracy. And certain SUSAG agents were found to be connected with the attempt. And also certain, I believe, naval officers were implicated by Langoff, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, because I don't think you were here for that, Inslee. All those battleships that we wanted to keep that were going, most of the upper echelons of that fleet were in on the plan.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
we almost, if we had all jumped off with you and had just tried to rely on them to solve the problem, it would have been our face.
The Darien would have collapsed.
It's why. That was one of the major reasons that Calcian wasn't going to tolerate Rani Patrov being around, because he didn't think she could get to Meyer to face justice, right? Because any Navy ship taking her there could just drop her off to Susag, and there's nothing we could have done about it.
But in all, the Darien has seized artifacts, is seeing the promise of more exploration with Redane, though they will have to compete with the consulates, as the consulate is now racing to settle places. But they will at least get one particular star system that's going to be very important to them. Or maybe not, because it's more of a Lat VG thing than it really is the Darien, as I recall. Or did you extend them the... No, you told them to become a protectorate for Palm Beak.
Yeah, we advised them to go through the normal process. And in fact, Calcian, so much more interested in the development of Lat VG than Palm Beak, suggested they choose someone else. Right. It felt like there was the possibility for Langhoff to push to be a noble on Palm Beak, but I decided not to even pursue that because of Lat VG. So I don't think Lat VG has any interest in Palm Beak.
And lastly, Susag. Susag got an early jump on all the factions in the region by getting one over on the Border World Confederacy. And it is... Most are quite assured that if the Border Worlds still stood, they might go after Susag for their interference and their meddling in their affairs. But they come away clean in reaching the Imperium, disavowing their agent, who is part of a Imperial Navy defraudment scheme. That guy goes to prison for a long time. The mystery of Rani Petrov's assassination increases security across the board, and no executive is now allowed to travel, is now to be on their own anymore. But they never really find out who did it. And the Darien Confederacy doesn't exactly hinder them, but doesn't exactly race to their help either, as the technocracy is well aware of a mega corporation's ambitions to extend its reach. But the big gamble of Susag paid off. They moved everything, and they transplanted themselves from the Kingdom of Celea all the way to the Darien Confederacy and the Sword World Confederacy. and in the Lunian subsector as a sort of regional reboot of the entire mega corporation.
Sweet.
So,
So,
what, as the year goes on, does Lord Gorham intend to do or hope to do?
well, I wanted to ask Calcian, like, are commissioned ships, do they also have jump engines as well as
Yeah, because while so the book does not explain the rolls or the math required to do a short jump on an ungoverned drive.
right?
It just says that a good astrogator can do it. So if they fail, all of the destinations that I chose, which again will have to be redone because we're not going to go to theater anymore. But we'll find some. We'll find a way around that. It's not that big of a linchpin.
Okay, well, yeah, I was just
But
thinking.
if you miss, right? If you miss the planet that you're doing a short jump to, the jump drives allow you to jump to a nearby system for either regular or wild refueling. Then you get back to the route, right? So if you have to jump 6, but your astrogator misses it and jumps the full 10, all of those routes will put an overjump within 1 or 2 jumps of a system.
Okay.
To
So
review.
now, so what is the current route we had? Darien to Biter to Lunion.
Yes. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to move the Biter part, which I may make us have to do a short jump to the new destination and then a full jump to Lunion.
Right.
It'll make us move. It'll adjust the jump on one side or the other because we're probably going to go to like Sakanoth or something now, a sword world. But it's not gonna affect the whole route.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that it might be a good idea to have a sword world in the route, since they're
I'm gonna. That's
up and
what
coming.
I would do.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
So yeah, cool. Okay. So yes, in the time between now and when we're having to head off to my domain, Tarbin, since we are in a system with a star base and a scout base, both, I'd like to get certified as an engineer.
Easily done.
And I may have misunderstood. Are we talking about what we want to do before meeting the Emperor? But it sounded like you were asking what we were doing over the next, like...
Think epilogue.
That's what I... Okay, yeah. So it's
okay.
like for the long term.
Yeah.
How long of a term?
6 months to a year, somewhere in there. That's why it's hope as well. There's a lot that's stretching
Right.
across, and you know what's going to happen in this next year for certain now, that based on what you guys have done so far. I know for one, you're definitely making nice with the Emperor. You might be there to counter his demise.
Yeah. So definitely make life nice to the Emperor, and Tarbin is, for one, is definitely aware of being on the lookout to try and prevent him from being assassinated. And I believe in that year-long time frame, the detailed survey of the Gorham system will be completed. At which point, Tarbin's going to be waiting to learn about that, and then thinking about if it comes back with potential lucrative mining capabilities or whatever that's potential to make some money. He'll be thinking about using personal wealth and trying to convince the owners of LATVG of a good opportunity to invest in the Gorham system. But that's dependent on whether or not there's exploitable resources there.
Right.
So that's a big part of Tarbin's plan, and then working to help set up the trading routes for the ship's building.
Anything about his the secrets he's held when he started? How relevant is that to him anymore?
The secrets.
Because you usually get a thing from your your last career. I think one is.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
the thing I had that was kind of out there was the location of an ancient like supply dump or vault or something. Let me find it. Traditions. Sorry, I'm having to find it on my location of First Empire Advanced Depot. So that's still important to him, as from what he could tell, it was out in the Spinward somewhere in the Redan and further Spinward unexplored subsectors is where that base was. So yeah, that's definitely on his radar to continue heading out, try and find that depot. Unless Palm Beak was it, which I don't think.
No.
So yeah, that's still definitely, but that's really the other thing he got from that was he had very precise performance specifications on jump drive. So I don't know what exactly that means or does, but it makes him a better engineer probably. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's still definitely an interest of his and something he wants to track down as circumstances permit, as well as the history of the Earthside diaspora. But yeah, I mean, meeting the Emperor is kind of the event that's in the most immediate that has the potential to offer multiple branching decision trees.
Yeah.
Whatever the minimal rights on Gorham was, and honestly, Tarbin's also still interested in the company developing, exploiting the things we found on, wasn't Spoon, Narsol? Was it? Where was the world?
Place with the plague.
Okay, where was the world that we stopped at that we did a survey of the asteroids and stuff because the night?
Oh,
Ectron.
Ectron, yeah. So yeah, definitely still interested in developing that as well as an income stream.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's about it for Tarbin.
What of Baron Calcian Langoff of the Darien Confederation?
Calcian has come to understand that a big issue going forward with the Sword Worlds and the Sheldani is going to be him personally. So he is going to take on a multi-pronged effort to, first of all, fulfill a life goal of being able to hold an estate in the Sword Worlds, and second, to eliminate all the problems created by his activity in the last war. So trying to find a noble or an executive, someone high in the Sword Worlds who'd be willing to come on board in the company, and then trying to convince Tarbin and Calvir to let me sell them shares so that I can use that money to influence the Sword Worlds, like through charitable giving, through reparations, to...
Are we laundering money?
No, I'm no, trying to heal the wounds of the last war and open up the Sword Worlds to us, right? Because I'm the thing preventing us from doing that. And I'm talking about spending, right? If we can find someone with enough cash to buy shares, then those shares, the cash brought on board is going to be in the.
I heard there's a major who retired recently who might be up for it, but you might want to look elsewhere. She's pretty
I don't
patriotic.
think Hervor has a resource unit lying around to afford the shares.
Not really, no.
No, this has to be. That's why it might almost have to be like a noble, right? It has to be someone who has access to like a resource unit.
Yeah.
Because we're a several resource unit company, so the shares are expensive. And then using that personal wealth to do reconciliation and paying the people who won't forgive unless they've been paid off, and then paying for the people who won't accept money but would accept works and deeds like charitable giving and reparations and stuff.
Oh, I just realized Tarbin had actually a while back achieved a life's passion.
What's that?
To us, from the scout career, he had a passion to acquire a Jump 4 scout ship, which is pretty much the Void Gazer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hooray for Tarbin.
Anything else in Langhoff's epilogue as he goes about in his grand redemption war tour?
Other than that, it's managing the day-to-day of the company. Because even in this, the company outweighs everything else.
Helping, you're also a growing megacorp that's going to have a stern rival in Susag in the same region that you guys are based out of.
Darn, that's one way to put it.
Yeah, so...
Overwhelming might be another.
Yeah.
So probably, bouncing back every couple of weeks between Meyer, Darien, and Grom, right?
Well, and it does look like there are a couple of Imperial titles suddenly vacant in the Lunian sector. Maybe Tarvin could move up. I discovered unobtainium in Gorham. Well, welcome, Duke Arctos.
Well, you saw one of the next two ships that I suggested we build are a battle class mining ship and a battle class industrial ship, so that wherever we discover mining resources or get access to, right, one ship hops in and starts crushing rocks and making material, and the next ship jumps in and starts making trinkets to sell to the locals who can't make it themselves, which is the perfect use case for Gorham.
And what of Professor Calvir Chusani?
He'll stay around for a little bit, milling about still on the ship before he accepts that emeritus position at the University of Narsil. And it is there that he'll write his last and final piece about the plague and the effects of the plague and how it worked, etc. And in that last and final piece, his magnum opus of a sort, he'll include that reference to an unobtainable research paper that he has from his career as a scholar. And he'll dedicate the research paper to all the brave scientists and members of the university on Palm Beak who have graciously received him and allowed him a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. After that, he'll resign his post on Narsil and head off home, where a soft bed and golden fields of wheat await.
The year goes on. The golden age of the Third Imperium continues, for most, although the border worlds seem to be the ones who suffer the most. But one new megacorporation begins to rise of LatVG, which seems to be a larger good in the world than the negatives that such a new company sometimes brings with it.
Good, because I've been working really hard to get us on the side of the Angels. I mean, my God.
And in all, by the activities of a bunch of, started by a handful of travelers out of Galantine, gallivanting across the region, making friends, mostly high, not a whole lot of low station allies, mostly high station allies, have managed to enrich themselves and manage not to screw over the region in the process, thereby also averting what many rather cynical psychohistorians worried was going to be the Sixth Frontier War, which never really comes to pass. For now, at least.
And all it took was a single murder.
And that is the end of the Travelers of Galantine. The intention, this will be the last one of Travelers of Galantine. For those of you watching, thank you very much for watching. A new game will be taking place, whether it be more Traveler 5 or something else. That's something we're going to be discussing. I'm going to be discussing with the players, and we'll figure out what we're going to do, but you'll see us again at the same time, and hope you enjoyed. For those of you playing, thank you very much for playing, and we'll see you out there somewhere among the stars. Or at a bus station, whichever.
Bears in space, or bus station.